Hello, welcome to Mess to Mastery, and this is another episode in the series of Hero Next Door. We have a very special person here. Today's guest is someone who has led global teams, shaped technology strategies, and earned her place in leadership. But the story we're here to explore is beyond the titles. The person, the quiet strength, the steady growth, and the woman who continues to evolve through all of it. So inspiring, which is why I wanted to share time with Gayatri and get you to hear. Gayathri Devi Jayan is a leader, lifelong learner, and someone who knows how to listen to her own rhythm, literally, even in fast moving worlds. Welcome, Gayatri.
Thank you so much, Veena. It's a pleasure. I really feel overwhelmed with all the introduction. I think we should get started.
Absolutely. Right. So, you've had a very inspiring journey over 30 years in tech leadership, um, an executive in the IT sector. But before all of that, who were you as a child? And what were the early influences that shaped who you are today?
Right. Born in a lower middle class Tambram family, south of India, Madras, then. I am the second daughter to my parents. My sister is about 4 years older to me, and I have a younger brother who's more like a twin. And the family was huge in my initial years. I think at least until I became a teen, we had a minimum 13, 14 people in the house. It was a big family. I think I was very blessed to have such a huge family in which I was born. My father was a born leader also because of his position. He was the first son of the family with a huge set of siblings under him, who he was responsible to raise because my grandfather was too old and they had no other means. And my mother, I think she was also a leader by birth because she had tended to her own family that way. She had a big family too. And she came in and she was the first daughter-in-law. So, with two leaders for who I was born, and me being me, in the sense the second naughty child always, I was hyperactive. I think there was something for me to learn from every member of the family, not necessarily what to do and how to do, but also what not to do. I have to admit that, or rather, I would say, children learn more from seeing than by getting preached. Whatever I saw around was emulation worthy. That was the way my father led a huge family with absolutely no resources, and the way my mother supported, or should I say, my mother led it and my father supported. We never knew. My biggest role model till date, those who know me know this very well, is my mother. My mother has always been my hero. She has gone beyond her abilities, capabilities, her resources, her strengths to tend to such a huge family. She kind of forgot her own and she only focused on my father's. I think that is kind of the sacrifices, the devotion, and dedication. And my father, of course, he had to take care of his family, so he did what he had to do. My uncles, especially my last uncle and my last aunt in that order, they were more like my siblings. With them, I learned how to take life in its stride because they were still very young and they were my playmates in one sense. So I think I had a very beautiful lay of the land when it came to people and people management and tolerance and acceptance and all of that very early in life. And hence, I always promote people being in a joint family because it teaches you so much of your interpersonal relationships and skills, and you learn it so beautifully. It just kind of uh, it just kind of comes to you so easily. So that was my childhood. That was my upbringing, full of value systems, full of morals and lessons and fun and fun and fun because endless fun, I would say, because I never realized that we were going through a lot of financial troubles at that stage. It was not exposed to me or my siblings. But all that I saw was so many people to play with, so many people to learn from, so many people to dance with. My aunt loved dancing, so I think that's where I picked that up from. So that I would say is the early formative stages. I would say until about I was, like I said, 13, 14, this was the lay of the land. So I guess I owe it all to how I was blessed.
Yeah, it's beautiful, and it speaks to me about the concerns around how children these days are not necessarily exposed to more than the two adults, the father and the mother. And okay, there might be the odd grandparents and maybe some uncles, but they're not necessarily having a good relationship with them, a strong relationship where they have another go-to person other than their parents, who it might be risky. Sometimes they do tell you off, right? It sounds like you had that well structured support system that seemed to have fed so much into you without you realizing it. And that's the beauty of it, right? So thank you for sharing that. You've shared about your love for mono acting, right, and drama growing up. What did that experience teach you about expressing yourself, not just on stage, but in life, at work?
It's a very thoughtful question. I many times realized that even when I watch a movie, even till date, or reading a book is, of course, for learning, right? But usually people think watching a movie or a drama or a play is more entertainment. I look for knowledge in entertainment. I don't know why I am wired that way. It is what it is. But right from my young age, my father was an amateur artist. He had a huge passion for theaters. My mother was a great lyricist and a writer. So I think all of that I owe to the gene. And they also trained us meticulously. In spite of all the challenges at home, all three of us at home were trained in different forms of theater, whether it is mimicry, mono acting, an elocution competition. You say it and on stage. So I have no fear for the stage, but I've just been trained to be there on stage. It's like how fish takes to water. I love the stage, So it just comes naturally. I think that was because from my maybe when I was 8 years old, I did my first stage. And then you've just been there doing it maybe every other month in some form or shape. And every time when I've gone through that stage experience, what has stayed with me, of course, you have to do this by hearting of the dialogues and delivering, modulation, intonation, actions, gestures, gesticulations, all of that. But it was also the thought that people on stage have to be more expressive because it has to reach the last row of the audience. So there was that concept. So we were taught to be over expressive. Sometimes I think I take it to real life too, and I don't want to be so animated, but I guess habits die hard. Um, so that is the big reason for my animated gestures. I think my siblings are also that way. So what I had really taken from very young age is on stage when you go, I'll tell you, I was also a good student in the sense I would be within the first 10 ranks, right? But when I was on stage, I realized there were more followers, there was more applause, there was more recognition. So, very early, I learned that it is just not curriculum, the regular one, it is also the extracurricular activities that can really. So, that was a very early learning. Then I thought I should never give this up, and I stayed true to it. Even when I went to my college, I made sure I was on stage, and you cannot be on stage just like an also ran. I mean, I'm a perfectionist, and I know it kills many people around me, and it kills myself too. I burn out because of that nature. But that is a very important piece of who I am because on stage also I can't afford to be shoddy. So I have to be good in what to the best of my knowledge and capabilities. Maybe I'm not the best. I'm still aspiring to be the best, but I have to keep aspiring and do everything towards it. That's the motto. So the learning of getting recognized was deep down. The applause, I think I'm a big fan of actor Kamal Hassan. And I love the way he says how artists are in love with applause, right? Once you get used to any form of artist. So that's so true in my case too. When I hear people applaud, I'm addicted to it actually. right? And I want to do more so that I give them more to plot. So it kind of becomes a virtuous cycle by itself. So in my case, I think the learnings were definitely, it is just don't do your regular stuff, do something more.
Mm.
And one thing I realized is in doing something more, see what's there to learn in every aspect. I've learned so much from Sujata's scripts, writer Sujata, science fiction writer and a great novelist. Again, another person I truly deeply admire. His works are great. In fact, he had written a lot about AI and holograms and all of that, much humanoid robots and all of that much earlier, the previous century itself, I would say. So he is a great inspiration again. So when I read his novels or when we dramatize his scripts, I learn a lot from that. Comatose, what is it? And a lot of he does a lot of research when he writes. So that's very intriguing and I love it. So the learnings have been just not life learnings. They've also been intellectually stimulating learnings for me. And so I don't take entertainment as a form of time pass. I take it as what can I gain from it intellectually. And moving on to real life, I know real life and real life can never be the same. And what I cannot do, while I may be animated, what I cannot do is act in real life. I'm a very poor performer when it comes to putting up a show or throwing a drama around when it comes to real life. If it comes naturally, fine. Otherwise, I can't conjure up something and make do things. I can't say what is not true. I can't bluff or nuts. So all of these in real life is a very different person, but you put me on stage, you'll see that it's a very different person there. I hope that answers your question. I'm not too sure.
Yeah, it does. And what's interesting that I picked is that it's not just expressing yourself that your interest in mono acting and being on stage has taught you, but there's so much more to just that. And I think this is another thing that parents and children of present generation can take away, because I see a lot of adverts for become an entrepreneur now and as a child, and become financially literate as a child, and so much. But these sort of art forms, and of course sports also, brings learnings that you just cannot have in any other sector. And as a child, that is the time to learn all of that, and you don't even realize that you're learning all of that. It's just going in. So I think that's quite beautiful. I know we've talked about having you back again to talk about leadership, especially women in leadership, and I have so many questions lined up already for that based on what you said. So I'm going to reserve those for that. Today, you're someone who's held powerful roles, right? But also stayed quite grounded. Was confidence something that came naturally to you based on what you've said? I think your experiences as a child seems to have fed confidence into you, or did it grow over time?
I think it's a very mixed mixed experience for me when it comes to
Actually, just give me a
confidence.
second.
You continue. It's a very mixed experience for me when it comes to confidence. Um, I think the order of birth and the family and all of that definitely plays into your DNA, the way you are wired and all that. Because the impressions a child starts taking, a baby, an infant, all of that from the birth, uh, like you rightly said, unconsciously it kind of gets into your system. And I think I was always a very confident person. I don't remember self doubting at all, ever. But there are instances where if I won't say self doubt, but if I'm not sure about something, I'm quite a chatty person. People who know me know this very well. I'm quite talkative, quite a chatterbox. I can't keep quiet for a minute. That's my personality. I'm quite loud. I'm okay to be what I am. However, you put me in a room where I don't know the subject. You will see someone who's such a silent observer and listener like you've never seen before. There have been instances in my work life where I have kind of submitted to my supervisor saying, in that particular meeting with the customer, I'm sorry, I could not talk because I did not know the subject and I didn't want to sound inappropriate. So I hope my silence is acceptable. Because you go in a leadership position not to be silent, you're expected to say a few words, but silence also can speak louder in true sense. Because I did not know the subject and I kept quiet, the respect became manifold. And I was only asking questions to understand rather than trying to say something absurd. So I won't say my confidence was shaken. In fact, I was so confident and my conviction was high. It was not self doubt, it was more like, I know I don't know this. So I either learn or I shut up. So that clarity has always been there. So I don't think there's ever been a dearth of confidence. It's always been uh, whether I should contribute productively or should I just keep silent. That was one. But there are times in my work life where I have been thrown to the wall and to the corner, saying, I've had that. Not, I have not self doubted, but there have been people around me telling me that, are you really the person for this position? Those are pockets of time which have had very deep impact in me as a professional. And the way I am wired usually is, you say you can't do, I will want to do it and prove that I can do. I've always seen that to be a rhythm in my life. When someone says, no, 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 not you, I'll say, why not me? So that kind of a rebellious thing has been very helpful, and it has also been detrimental in parts, when people try to throw some challenges. But the good thing I still again think is, I'm full of positivity, okay? So I will still again say, yeah, I tried at least. You said I can't do, I tried. Yeah, I couldn't do, so what? I at least tried. So that's kept me going, Veena. So never have I doubted myself. And if I have some doubts, I will want to learn rather than killing myself, or never shied or gone into a shell or something like that.
What I'm hearing is that you have exercised discernment rather than doubt, because you looked at whether this is something that I already know. If not, I just need to learn. So that's been the um, what is the right word? Not judgment, but want of better word, judgment that you had to make. So it was not so much you're withdrawing because of lack of confidence. Rather, it's making sure that you have everything you need so that you can not necessarily charge, but you can speak with confidence and credibility. I think
Right.
that's quite beautiful. So, in terms of, we'll talk a bit of the growth, the transitions, and the inner work that might have happened. Leadership usually looks very sensational, right? We are like, oh, they have all of this, and they're flying the business class, and it's quite sensational. But behind the scenes, I know that it can be quite lonely, and it can be quite challenging and quite personal as well. So, was there a moment when you succumbed to any of that? And is that an experience you relate to, first of all?
I have challenged the leaders being lonely part of it quite a bit myself. But have I experienced all the tensions behind the scene? Absolutely, yes, 100%. From the flashy outside to the not so desiring inside. Not so desirable, if I were to say, not so desirable inside because of the tension, stress, and all the chaos and confusion. It's not easy. That much I kind of completely agree to. But I don't think leadership is really as lonely as it sounds, if only you know how to strategize that better. That's my take. But I know world over, in fact, I've read a lot of books on how CEOs look at it, how great CEOs say it, and how even Satya Nadella is quoted. It is because of the fact that you don't have a peer. The CEO doesn't have a peer in the group. It feels lonely because people under you, all of them have peers, but you don't have a peer, which is true from a role and a responsibility. But that doesn't make you a lonely soul. That is how I look at it.
So
Yeah.
that is quite a big challenge to the common narrative. isn't it? Where when you keep climbing up, it becomes difficult, or it appears to become difficult for people to make connections and feel connected and not lonely. It's one of the things that I keep challenging as well. Why do people have to make it so difficult to be a leader? I think part of it is our own making. And it sounds like
Absolutely.
you have challenged that as well.
Absolutely. I mean, I have never had moments of being left alone. So there are two things: being left alone and feeling lonely. Two different. I've never been left alone. I've always had my teams. Of course, I have my think time, I have my reading time, I mean, you do deep thinking, you keep formulating strategies and ideas. I keep doing it all the time. Whatever I take up, how do I best position ourselves? How do I probably win a deal? How do I execute a particular complex program? So all of this is constant strategizing and planning and executing, monitoring, tracking, all of that, right? So you're never left alone because you have people surrounding you all the time. And definitely, I think a good leader will have people who are a strength and never feel threatened by them. I'm very happy with teams that have challenged me. I've always liked people who've spoken to me, say, and if they don't have meat in what they're saying, it's a different treatment altogether. But if what they're saying makes a lot of sense and it's going to add to the end deliverable, that's a person on my team. I will never think I'm going to be threatened or, oh my God, my insecurity. I've never felt insecure, never felt threatened by anybody in my team. And I think I am because of my teams, truly, truly, truly. I never have thought, I've always told my teams that, look, my bosses don't keep seeing me all the time, like how I see all of you. My customers see the deliverables, of course, and they speak to me. But the people who keep seeing me are you all. So it is very easy for me to tell everybody I did something, but my team knows who really did it. I can't run away from you people. I can't hide from you people. I think you're judging me. You keep assessing me. You like me. You hate me. You're dealing with me. Whatever the case is, but I can never come and fake in front of you guys because you guys know what I am really. So I've realized that very early in life. So I never have taken my teens for granted. In fact, I take permission from them if I have to go on leave because I don't know who has what necessity, right? I might have prepared a second in line to take care of escalations in my absence, but I don't know what else is the problem my teams may face. So I asked them, is it okay? This is the time I'm going on. They're all used to that pattern. People have worked with me and followed me wherever I go. They know that she will announce her vacation dates. So we need to plan for that. And then I tell them in what mode they can contact me, what hours, all that. So I never leave my team stranded, so to say. So that has been my biggest, I would say that's been my biggest strength too, because they are there for everything, right? So I believe in that, Veena, too deeply. Now, when it comes to the lonely part of it, right? A little bit philosophical touch there. I think each one of us, whether we are in a leadership role or even a janitor who's not a leadership role, or you take a developer, you take a housekeeper, take any house help or a driver. Each of us philosophically is lonely. Okay, I don't think there is any soul which has the company of another soul for lifetime. So
That is true.
you rightly said it actually. It's exaggerated a little bit. Leadership at the top, CEO, lonely, all of that. Every person is lonely. The soul is lonely, right? But when it comes to work, if you are smart enough, you have a great team which will support you and you support them. And I think there is nothing called I might be the face to the world and to the analysts and others, but I have a huge army behind me. It's not GD, it's my team. I'm very grounded to that fact,
Mm.
right? And I feel embarrassed if I'm quoted saying I know everything and I'm the because I know my teams will laugh at me and I don't want that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yes. And I
Yeah.
think this is something that sets leaders apart, where they recognize the contribution by their team. I've I have sort of fought this narrative that a single person achieves things, right? And when the team doesn't grow, I don't think the leader should be allowed to grow in my view, because if they've
Hmm.
not allowed the team to grow, then what have they done? They should remain an individual contributor. Is my strong view. Um, it's good to see that you have put that in practice, and it sort of seems like a validation to my thinking. So I didn't expect that to come out of this conversation. So thank you for that.
Okay, okay.
Um,
In fact, I'm sorry, I just have one anecdotal thing. So
yeah, yeah,
once we were
do that.
running a very large program, and I was obviously the main leader in the program, directing the teams, and it was a colossal failure. People don't talk about failures. I have to talk about failures here. So when I went to my then boss and I said, I'm such a bad performer, I have let the team down, I've let you down, I've let the customer, the program is a massive failure. Then he said, how arrogant can you be? That really took me back. I said, what do you mean? I'm admitting to my failure and you call that arrogance? He said, you think just one person like you can make such a huge program a failure? How arrogant is that? So, which means when it is successful, you will think it's because of you it's successful. I was completely taken aback. And that was a big learning for me. Whether success or failure, it is just not one person's doing. It takes several components, to come together and make it successful or a failure. But of course, don't show up the team when it is a failure. I give them a piece of my mind. My teams know that. I pull them up. But to the world, you're just the face of whether it is a success or a failure. So don't take the entire credit to yourself. That can be a deep rooted arrogance in you, was a lesson I learned. A big one. I thought I should leave that here.
Yes, I think that to me that speaks duality, the concept of if you say something is good, then there has to be something that is bad. So if you say I am taking complete responsibility for what went wrong, then you're taking complete credit for what went right as well. So I can see where your boss was coming from. Quite nuanced, and I appreciate
Yeah.
whoever that
Yeah.
was. Quite nice. Something that I want to talk about, because it's part of my the theme, outside of this hero next door. I am a coach, and one of the tenet within my coaching framework is letting go, right? Surrender. And I know that you have evolved, and you have taken multiple roles, and you've been so many different things in your life. Were there parts of you that you had to let go so that you can grow further?
Just now I said, right? Revelations like this, the duality concept, uh, several such, very sensitive when it see, two things as a child. I think it's there with me even now. When I do something good, I expect appreciation. When I do something bad or when I make a mistake, I accept it, but quite outwardly, I will accept it. I'll apologize. But the way you will tell it to me has to be in a way I will take it. So these are very hardcore things of mine, right? My ways of doing things. I think both are, I won't say wrong, but are not great traits. Both are not great traits of mine. My father used to, in fact, be extremely critical about my craving for appreciation. So he will say, I'm not going to be patting on your back for every damn thing. So they kind of try to ground me. So I think I'm out of that big time, but I still have those traces. So I don't know when it'll ever go away from me. And the other part of it where I will take feedback the way I have to be told, right? I have to listen to what you say, I have to reason it out, and you have to be very patient with me. That part has not gone away from me. But what I've really given up in the last few years of my professional life, again from a lot of experiences, is being too sensitive to comments and criticisms and feedback and all of that. I've learned to detach the person from performance All of this I've tried very hard to. I've learned to be more listening. I was very impatient. I am still very impatient for results, Veena. If I do a planning now, strategy now, something I want to see results, so I'll start chasing my team. So I'm like maniacal there. But I have learned not to not to put the person and the performance in the same window. Detach that. That is a big learning for me. And to keep unlearning and relearning has been a learning for me, because we always say, this is how I knew it. No, that is different. Now you learn again. So that learn again, relearn, unlearn has been, happening time and again. That's a big thing for me in this profession. I really love the whole concept. And it means so much. You evolve over a period of time. And then the criticisms, feedback, and all that, to detach myself. When someone says, GD, this is not okay, I have to now separate it out. It's not, GD, you are not okay, is not what they have said. GD, this is not okay. So I try to kind of paraphrase it. It takes a lot of effort to do that. But these are my, my bosses used to say, leave the ego out of the door, leave your pride out of the door. When they said all this, I said, what do they mean? But
Mhm.
when it came to me being a leader doing all of this, I realized you can't be the same. You can't, what do you do with your ego, right? When you want your teams to come to work and it's a demanding program, customers screaming, you have to fall at their feet, right? People don't want to admit to this, but I've always told my teams that you have more control than what you think the CEO has of the company, right? You guys have to do well. That's when the company flourishes. So all of this have been learnings, and there have been. It takes a lot for me to not have that ego. All of us have our egos, right? I don't think there's any individual who's given that up. In fact, as you climb the ladders, it only grows more with you, right? Thankfully for me, my I just put it under my feet. If I remove my foot now, it'll come up again. I pressed it on, under my foot, and I don't come. I don't need you now. I need to be as humble and as modest. That acting thing, right? Even if you're acting, you have to do it. It takes a lot to swallow your pride and go and ask things of people who you don't want to be doing to, right? But
Yeah,
yeah, these are my few things that, if I may quote.
yeah. That brings up, the concept of ego itself. The ego is merely identity. That is all it is. Ahankar, as is called in Sanskrit. It's literally just identity. And that's just your address. And without an address, it's difficult to get things and process things, right? So we seem to have again given such a different meaning to ego and allowed it to grow so much. I think that was also partially our own doing, especially in the corporate world among leaders. And I absolutely agree with you. Ego has no place, not just for for the leaders, but for anyone. Because
Anyone.
the example that you quoted, like the janitor, even no matter what your profession is, all of us have to be personal leaders. Otherwise, we'll remain stagnant. We will not grow, we will not progress. And for that, your ego, if it constantly says you're already good, what is there to get better? And the ego will say that because it's trying to protect itself. It's not going to help. So it sounds like you've had some nice mentors in the way that have given you this bites to chew on and process it in your
Absolutely.
time. So that's beautiful. Right. We are almost at the end of this beautiful conversation. And I know I have a lot more things to ask, so I'm definitely going to have you back. But maybe before we wrap up, a couple of things. When you think about the idea of success now, how has your definition evolved? I know success, in our early stages versus success now. Prior to recording this, we had the conversation about how we've evolved. So has the definition of success also evolved for you? What does it look like?
Yeah, I think it is a very flaky thing, the word itself, right? It's a word. Just take it as a word. What is success after all? It's like how so many words I'm using now to make a sentence. Success is part of it. If I were to attach more meaning to it than what it deserves, I truly think inner happiness is success for me. For me or for anyone, it should be that way, is what I think. I have come across some very simple people doing humble roles, being supremely happy, and I'm so jealous. I think that is success. You think back when you go to the grave, right? What remains of you? If people are able to still talk to your grave, and I mean, Robin Sharma's "Who Will Cry When You Die." That's not. I mean, that is a lot of gyan there. I mean, if
Mm.
someone wants to read that, but if I were to put it in very simple words, are you happy every single day? It's impossible to be happy every single day, every single hour. But overall, if you're happy with yourself, you can't hate yourself because your conscience, I believe, is your best judge. If you're able to go to sleep peacefully, you've not done anything wrong, you've not hurt anyone, especially you've not said anything wrong to people who are in the right. I'm okay to tell things to people when they are doing things intentionally to harm others. I'm very, very compartmentalized, Veena, thankfully. So if someone's not doing the duty, not doing what they're supposed to be doing, whether at home or outside, right, at work, if they're not able to deliver what they're expected to do, they fail their duties, I get really berserk. I get mad. What they're supposed to be is expected of you. So for me, success is all about, am I able to look at myself in the mirror and smile? Am I able to be happy with myself? Am I with myself? Is my soul happy? If my soul is happy, I think that is the best success anyone can go behind. But you have to ask yourself, what makes your soul happy? Is it money? Is it fame? Is it recognition? Is it a job profile? Is it just praying to God morning and night? Is it watching TV, drinking a wine? Whatever that may be. What does your soul want? Introspection is key here. If you know what your soul wants. I mean, of course, beyond this is the purpose of life. Why am I here? All of us keep figuring it out all our lives, I think. But the word success is overrated. The word success is hyped, no end. And hence we talk about failures also. And the reason we want to talk about failures is because don't overrate success.
Mm.
Failures teach you more than success. I believe in that so much. I've had so many failures, but I've learned so much that I can challenge anybody when it comes to the knowledge capital. Right? So in my mind, am I successful? I would say supremely successful because I'm very happy with what I have done. Right? So I've been very fair to people. Now, if I have not been, I will need someone to come and tell me the way I would like to listen to it with all the data and put it up and say you missed it here, you didn't do it here, you were not good here. If it is true, and if I did it for a good reason, I have to apologize. It's very simple. We should not overcomplicate things in my mind. Right? So you just say, okay, I did not know this. I'm sorry I did this. It was a judgment call, wrongly done. I'm sorry. Thank you for bringing this up to me. Otherwise, I would have never known this. Done. I'm happy now. You're happy. Success. That's all there is to it. Did I oversimplify?
No, what I'm hearing is as long as you are able to be at peace with yourself, that is success. Right? That's what I heard as your version of success, and I think that's beautiful.
Yeah, yeah. And you will be at peace with yourself, your inner happiness, only if you're listening to what your soul wants. Just imagine if all of us thought this way, right? There wouldn't be so much bloodshed and
Absolutely,
yeah,
yes,
yeah, bloodbath and all of that.
yes, and
Because the soul, I still think, is very pure.
yes, without going too much into that spirituality aspect, yes, the soul at the end of the day, your soul or my soul, it's still the same. It's part of the same universe. So on the surface, you and I may seem different, but deep down, we are just the same. There's only one. Um, so if we were able to operate from that level, the world would be a much better place someday, maybe. So before we wrap up, is there a hero next door that you would like to name? And by that I mean, the whole idea of starting Hero Next Door for me was there are so many people who are contributing to this society, to this world quietly, like yourself. And there are many that do very loudly. as well. We know about the loud ones, but I wanted to showcase the quiet ones and have relatable inspiration, right? I would imagine that a teenager watches this interview and sees, huh, she holds all these values and she made it like this in life, and that is inspiring, right? That's what I really want out of these conversations. Who would you say is your hero next door?
Alive or dead?
It doesn't matter.
Always my mother. I have not seen someone like her. Not because of just the being a mother for the three of us,
Mm.
but she has been a great soul for so many people in the family, at her workplace, in the neighborhood, in the community, with her siblings, with her siblings in laws. Amazing woman, amazing woman. I wish I am at least 1% of her. It would be great. And thank you so much, Veena, for bringing out people like us as well. I thought I was quite noisy as such, but I'm very happy to hear for once that I'm the quiet person. So I guess it's all relative scale there.
Exactly. It is, right? Especially in this day and age of social media and so on. We see the Tesla, we see the we see the Elon Musk and the Gates and all these people. But there are so many others who we don't even realize that we are inspiring others and we're making a mark in this world. And I think due recognition is required. I feel it's upon me. It's one of my duties to recognize and acknowledge these people, which is why I'm doing this.
Very well done. Thank you so much for featuring me.
My pleasure. Is there anything else you want to add? Maybe you felt like I didn't ask you, but I should have, and you want to say something.
You talked about my learnings from bosses. A couple of them were very key to my understanding the world, if I may say that. Um, when I started out as a project manager, I did not know how to use a tool called MPP, Microsoft Project Professional. I was very bad. In fact, if I go back as when I started as a developer, I did not know how to do 3D structures or by writing code for the software. I have to thank the technical leader at that point in time who taught me how to write code for those kind of 3D structures and engineering drawings. And the way he taught me, sat next to me and literally told me how to code and what he meant by 3D structure. Though I come from an engineering background, I did not know how to write code. So he was the one who sat, and then there's no looking back, of course. I'm a
Mm,
very sincere, fast learner, so that helped. So I will always, always thank him uh, for taking that initiative to train me. Then, when I became a project manager, there was this leader who taught me how to write project plans, Microsoft Project Professional. I did not know anything. I thought it was like an Excel sheet, and he sat me down and taught me how to do it. I will always think of him for any success in my project management capabilities. And when he rated me 5 on 5 in that appraisal, I was very surprised. And I said, I thought you'll give me 2 or 3 because I didn't even know this. He said, it's not about not knowing, it's about how you pick it up and learn and grow from there. You are marvelous. I was like very happy to have that perspective because we all keep thinking, right? If you don't know, you are a big zero. So that was a good learning. Then there was one boss who I did not like at all, much early in my career. But one learning he gave me, he said, if someone's giving you a feedback and you don't like it, don't look for who said it. Look for what is said. If what is said has some element of truth in it, and if it is constructive, it's going to put you on the right path, please go by that feedback. And irrespective of who has said it, if it does not give you any constructive growth opportunities, ignore, move on. While I hated the boss, I took the advice. I thought this is very important for people, these three personalities that very early in my career, and of course several others. But
mm,
I think these are real, milestone kind of, if I may call it a milestone, real turning point advice for me. All the three. The first one also was very. He did not chide me. He did not criticize, make fun that my code was all uh, garbage. He sat down and he said, this is not how you do it. When some leader, someone does that to you, that person has created a huge impact in you. And I think you should remember the good deed that person is doing. I just wanted to leave that on the table.
Appreciate that. Thank you. And definitely, it sounds like you have picked up, I must say. And that's really important. People come into our lives kindly, or maybe sometimes not in a very kind way, but they always leave a lesson for us. And it's up to us to grab that. And the fact that you're a lifelong learner maybe helps you pick those lessons quite easily. Well, Gayatri, thank you for spending time with me.
Thank you.
It's been a beautiful conversation, and I really look forward to having more such conversations with you. We should
Sure.
talk leadership, we should talk AI, and maybe dance as well in another conversation. So much more to come.
Completely my pleasure. Any of those subjects you pick up and we can go on and on. Yeah, yeah.
Excellent. Thank
Thank
you
you so
very
much.
much.
Thanks a lot, Veena. Like I said, very happy. And I wish you all the best with the series.